Invitamos a los que están entrando a que tomen asiento. Estamos listos para comenzar este primer momento de la mañana de nuestro segundo día juntos del IDB Lab Forum. Esperamos a los que visitan Argentina que hayan podido disfrutar también de la ciudad de Buenos Aires.
We hope that those who have those of you who are here for the first time in Buenos Aires, I hope you have had the chance to visit some places of Buenos Aires, and we will wait for you to begin this exciting day. Thank you for joining the Lab Forum. Yesterday, we met with the entrepreneurial, innovatory, and policy-making ecosystems. Very rich day. And today we will do a lot more of networking, conversations, and an afternoon that you should not miss. So please make yourself at home. You have on your badges a QR code. We invite you to scan it because you will be able to see an app to fill out a survey to tell us how you're experiencing this IDB Lab Forum and to continue with networking. You can choose there and then where and when you want to continue conversations. So it's very important for us to be able to access that QR code that you will find on your badges. I am Martina Rua. I am delighted to accompany you throughout this day, and we are ready to begin. We want to thank especially to all our sponsors that are making possible to have these 2 days here. Thank you, Google, Red Hat, Madrid Innovation, Milken Institute, AVP Ventures, Wi-Fi, and WISE. Have you taken advantage of the networking halls at the Sala Pacífico 1, 2, Foyer? Today we will continue with the networking session. So are you ready to begin? Today I would like to invite you, in order to frame our day, we are going to introduce Alva, the IDB representative in Argentina. Thank you. Let's welcome her with a warm round of applause. Good morning. Welcome to the second day of IDB Lab Forum, a space where innovation and entrepreneurial drivers are drivers of innovation in Latin America and the Caribbean. It is an honor to be here with you today, and this event reflects the commitment of the IDB toward inclusive innovation, and the idea is to foster sustainable development in the region. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened yesterday. It was a vibrant day with a lot of activity, very enriching activity. We opened with a discussion of how public policies can release the potential of AI in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we went deeper into AI in the transformation of economies toward an inclusive and sustainable way. We focused on the latest advances on AI in venture capital and even regional unicorns with Tienda Nube, whose founders shared with us how they have been growing in resilience, impact, especially the transformation of entrepreneurial capital transformation. The agenda spanned the different opportunities decentralization offers and tokenization offers to reimagine our global financial system, financial inclusion in the fintech ecosystem, and the digital transformation potential in health and the future of work. It was particularly inspiring to see how workers, informal workers of the region, also in the center of these technological solutions, to think how they can help us increase the effective inclusion of the most vulnerable. Finally, in our panel of entrepreneurs, we explored sustainable innovation to foster a more dynamic economy. What are we going to focus today? We have a very hectic agenda. The second day tackle avant-garde themes, for example, responsible AI, tokenization, VC, and the potential of fintech to transform financial services into more inclusive tools. We will also have the WeXchange, our platform, to foster female VCs in STEM areas to allow women to introduce their startups and present them before investors in critical themes for their development. Finally, I would like to invite you to the closing of this event because we are going to have a special treat. María, managing partner and founder of Utopia Venture Capital, will interview the legendary NBA player and of the Argentine basketball team, Manu Ginóbili, in a closed conversation where Manu will share his vision on leadership, resilience, and the construction of on the building of winning teams. He will reveal the principles that foster his career, his passion to support entrepreneurs in the early stages, and the moving incursion in VCs. Manu himself will give us life lessons to be applied in sports as well as in the entrepreneurial field, giving a unique perspective of what it takes to build successful teams and long-lasting teams. Let me tell you a little bit, to close, what IDB represents, a BID Lab Forum for Argentina and for the region. As you know, BID Lab is the innovation branch of the IDB group, and it has been a catalyst of change in the region, promoting different innovative, inclusive solutions for over 30 years. BID Lab Forum is a celebration of this commitment, renewed commitment, and it represents a unique platform to communicate the new role of BID Lab as a driver of sustainable, equitable development. This is an emblematic event. It's more than just a conference. It's a platform where different entrepreneurs, investors, corporations, and organizations from the innovative ecosystem of the region, including Argentina, can not only listen to experts and leaders, but also have dialogues and discussions in terms of the technologies and innovations that are transforming our environment. At BID Lab Forum, we enlarge our contacts lists. You have different business opportunities, and especially with a focus on entrepreneurial system development. For Argentina, a country that is undergoing stage of social and economic redefinition, the exchange of ideas and the creation of networks that can facilitate these new solutions is especially meaningful. And besides, Argentina has a vibrant community of entrepreneurs and startups, and this event becomes a valuable platform so that their ideas and projects can connect as opportunities at regional and global level. Together, we are here to identify and support these entrepreneurs who are bringing an impact on critical sectors such as climate change, sustainability, economic growth, helping the region and Argentina to build a more prosperous future. So, get ready for this day full of innovation, collaboration, learnings. Do not miss the opportunity to delve into the lessons, the life lessons Manu is going to share that has led him throughout his career. It will be an unforgettable closing of an event that we hope has a positive impact on the region and here. Thank you very much to all, and have a good day. Thank you, Viviana, for helping us remember what we have experienced yesterday and to encourage us and get moved with today's date, which definitely will be vibrant. So, we are ready for the first plenary in this morning. Yesterday, we focused a lot on fintech, and today we are going to incorporate an important sector. globally, but for our region as well, which is biotech. We have special speakers to talk about this today. The second day will start off with the plenary session, Cultivating the Future. How can biotechnology improve the adaptation to climate change and food security? I'm going to tell you who will be featured. Franco Martínez Levi, co-founder and CEO of PunaBio. Laura Rodríguez de Sanctis, General Manager and Capital Market of the Rosario Stock Exchange, Guillermo Fossari, Director of IDB Invest, and María Renner, General Director for Carini, the Director of the Cooperative Department of IDB Invest, and María Renner, General Manager and CSO of GRIDX. Let's welcome them with a round of applause. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Guillermo Foscarini. I'm in charge of the corporate invest, is the private branch of the IDB Group that works with the private sector, finance the private sector to develop the region, Latin America and the Caribbean. We have a tight relation with IDB Lab, because we invest not only in debt instruments, but also big for cooperative and infrastructure investment, but also on equity and capital. Following the work of IDB in early stages at certain companies, and we enter later on in this development to scale the businesses IDB participates. So first and foremost, thank you, Irene, Maite, who are here for having invited me. And I would like to thank the panelists for having accepted the invitation. The aim of this panel today is to discuss the influence of biotechnology in attacking or dealing with the biggest problems we have today, not only in the region, but in the world. The first one is the adaptation to climate change, and at the same time, and parallel to that, the food insecurity, and how biotechnology can be a tool to tackle both themes. As we know, as to climate change, I think everybody is aware of it, or we have experienced big climate events. We have seen 70 climate changes, big droughts with loss in production of by 40–50% of the food production in Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay in the last 18–24 months. Great floods in the south of Brazil, with great natural disasters, tornadoes affecting the Caribbean, the Mexican Gulf, damaging production, the effects of the El Niño in the agro-food sector in Peru. Last year was an El Niño year, and we can see the drop in production of blueberries and avocados and other crops. On the other hand, the effects that new plagues are bringing about in crops, we see that in Colombia, for example, in Ecuador, with how banana plantations have been affected by the RT4 fungus that destroy plantations that cannot be used for the next 30 years to grow anything. All these effects bring about also problems related to food security. Along with the situation of vulnerability and poverty the region is immersed, and other factors such as the loss of food in the food chain, more than 30% get gets lost in the food chain, and the nutritional value, the destruction of value chain due to the Ukrainian war, have brought about, among other things, have threatened food security of the region. We estimate that 30% of the population of Latin America and the Caribbean, 1 out of 3 people, suffer food security. In Argentina, in particular, that percentage is 27%. If you think of Argentina, with the title, to have one of the breadbasket of the world, we were used to call, but now 1 out of 4 people are in a situation of food insecurity. And that number is even higher because the previous one was an average. So in the light of that, we have to look for alternatives, how technology and innovation can bring about or can provide solutions in terms of creating sustainable production, more productivity, how to increase the life of foods, how to make them more resilient to climate events, among other solutions. In the light of the need to innovate, biotechnology is clearly a necessary tool, a key tool that will take us to improve in terms of food security, as well as in the combating against climate change. So what we look for in this panel is precisely to be able to discuss what is the role of biotechnology and the status of biotechnology in the world and in Argentina, in the region in particular. What are its challenges and what are the business opportunities it can provide? Which opportunities? So we have very distinguished panelists to introduce the topic, who are going to share their vision, their ideas, and what they are working on. So thank you very much for being here today.
So let me briefly introduce our panel members. María Renner. She's a biologist from the University of Buenos Aires with a PhD in neuroscience from the Netherlands. She's GRIDX partner. GRIDX is a company builder in Latin America, developing science-based startups, which has invested in more than 80 biotechnology startups in the region. Welcome, María. Wes Dang is Chief Scientific Officer from IndieBio, which is a venture capital fund of more than 1.6 billion of assets under management, funding startups in deep tech. He has worked at several funds. IndieBio and Sotta are one of the most active funds in agtech investments worldwide. Laura Rodríguez is a certified public accountant. She's a teacher of the National University of Rosario, and she's the capital market and innovation from the Stock Exchange of Rosario. They are developing very interesting and innovative programs and initiatives in connection with technological innovation. And finally, Marcos is the founder and CEO of PunaBio. PunaBio is a company specializing in bio supplies arising from the Puna for agriculture. Puna is a region in the northwest of Argentina. So I'm going to switch from English to Spanish. So there's translation service for those of you who may need it.
We are talking about innovation that to address the issues that we're experiencing in terms of adaptation to climate change and the consequence and the impacts that climate change is causing in food security, not only in the region, but in the world. What is key is innovation, how through technology and innovation we can address these fundamental problems that we're experiencing. In your view, are we innovating enough? What is the state of innovation? Is the innovation happening fast enough or at the same pace of the changes that we're experiencing in climate and in society? What are you seeing?
Yeah, that's a good question because it's an opportunity now to really get together and come to an operational language around what innovation is. To me, innovation is like a transaction. A transaction needs a buyer and a seller, right? A sentence needs a subject and a verb. Innovation needs a buyer and a seller. If you have innovation without a buyer, that's just called research to me. So one part of the answer is yes, there's a lot of cool research being done right now. And I think that if we had the willpower to implement and adopt that research, that becomes innovation in practice. And so on the one hand, yes, there's a lot of startup founders doing really cool things. In my opinion, I don't think that there are enough people implementing and adopting the cool things that the startup founders are making. So there's a saying, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? If a startup founder makes a product and no one is around to buy it, did it really happen, right? Was there really innovation? So I think that's what we really have to talk about, which is there innovation being adopted right now by the people who are in charge of our food security, which is either people who own farms and own hundreds of thousands of hectares of the ability to produce food, or to people who are making food and distributing food all around the world. I think that's really where we should be looking at. In terms of whether it's on pace, that's really hard to tell because climate change is a slow, gradual thing until all of a sudden it just drops. But research doesn't happen in that pace, So I think when I look back, if we get to the point where we are at a precipitous drop and we are very food insecure as a planet, I'm not going to look back and think, oh, I wish we had done more research. I think I'm going to look back and think, oh, we could have solved this if more people had given startup founders a chance to try their things. And that doesn't mean giving them money. It means maybe it's just a farm dedicating 1, 2, 3% of their farmland to just test a few things that the startup founders want to test. Because once they have the validation there, then they can go on and get funding from people like me and Maria from venture funding, because people will now believe it, right? So this innovation thing is an ecosystem, which is what BID is trying to bring people around, but it really doesn't happen until people adopt. And so this is me trying to take the burden of innovation away from the startup founders who are trying to produce it and say innovation is the burden of the people who are in charge of buying that kind of research. So, and then I'll just throw one more bomb out there, which is climate change really the most disastrous thing that's happening to our food insecurity? If we solve this, if we somehow protect ourselves from climate change, are we really more food insecure? Like, look at a media luna. Okay, that's a refined starch, refined sugar, and butter. That's monocropped wheat, monocropped sugarcane, and in my country, it's monocropped cow, right? And let's ignore the fact that we're delivering calories more than we're delivering nutrients, but we are destroying our soils, we are deforesting our forests, or the land, in order to produce all these things, and to do what? Are we really providing food security in that sense? So that's a bomb I'll just throw out there today.
Excellent. You're raising good points. Maria, what's your view on innovation in biotech? And also, your assessment as to how Latin American biotech sector is positioned globally to address these problems, and also to take advantage of the opportunities that these problems also develop or arise out of these problems.
Okay, thanks, and thank you very much for the invitation. I think what Westley said is a great introduction to this panel and to what we're thinking, and I think my view is more, I think I can tell more about Latin America and what we see as a situation here, and how what we saw when we started that is still going on. So basically we have, I would say we have three main things here in Latin America to differentiate us. One is the talent. Not only the talent, that you have talent all over the world, but I would say we have a lot of untapped talent here. We have a lot of scientific culture, scientists very well formed that go abroad, they do their PhD, their postdoc abroad, they come back. We have a lot of, we have many Nobel Prizes, and there's a lot of culture and a lot of people wanting to become scientists and wanting to go into, but what goes on in Latin America is that scientists are classically looking into academia, and only academia as the future, which is great to produce all the research that will become innovation, but it's not enough, right? So that's one thing that we have to somehow, and at GRIDX we work at it, we have to help scientists move from academia or from where they are when they are doing their research into actually having an impact and to reaching to the other side. So another thing we have in Latin America is that we have an opportunity in terms of costs for R&D. We have much lower costs for R&D in the region, and it also provides the opportunity not only to start a startup or a project here, but to maintain the R&D in the region, even for startups, as this is the case of PunaBio, that can go global, that have international investments, and they could go anywhere, but staying, having their R&D in LATAM is very valuable for them as well. Or, I don't know, maybe Franco will tell us more. But in that sense, we not only have the lower cost, but we also have the people. So as I was telling you, we have the scientists that are mainly doing research, but are looking into other opportunities. So having companies, science-based companies needing the R&D is a great opportunity to provide work for scientists wanting to do something else, which is happening a lot. It's been happening for 10 years, I would say, or more, but it's happening more and more. So we have the untapped talent, we have the R&D costs, and I would say the more unique of the region is that we have the biodiversity. We are the most biodiverse region in the world. And when we classically think of biodiversity, or at least how I thought of biodiversity as being a biologist, was that biodiversity is something we have to protect, is something that is endangered, and that as humanity is destroying. And that is all true, but we also have to, at GRIDX, we also think as biodiversity as a place to find the best, some of the best at least, solutions to the pressing problems. So we can do research, we can develop new alternatives, but if we go looking into science, into nature, and looking into the opportunities that are in nature and that are very well studied, although we still have a lot of work to do studying biodiversity, to find the solutions to provide, to change this, all the problems we're facing. So I would say those are the main things that we have in the region.
Excelente. Ahora para Franco, María hizo mención a algunos de los factores diferenciadores de Latinoamérica en cuanto a acceso a talento.
Regarding access to talent and biodiversity, Wes mentioned adoption. of new technologies. Based on your experience at PunaBio, because you meet several of the requirements or differentiating factors that Maria has mentioned, what are the main challenges that you are faced with, taking into account that you are based out of Argentina with a startup with a focus on biotechnology? Is it adoption? Is it the development of regulatory frameworks? Is it access to capital, funding, financing, talent? Could you discuss, based on your experience at PunaBio, what those challenges are as a startup for you? So I'm not going to mention all the ones that have already been mentioned. To focus on your question, which is what differentiates us and what are the challenges for a Latin America startup vis-a-vis a regular startup in a normal context, I believe that everything that you have mentioned applies. But the greatest challenge, which is going to apply for any startup, either from Argentina or from the region, it's no secret that if you raise foreign capital, which is either based in the US or in Europe mostly, they have a portion of capital to be allocated in Latin America that's going to be quite small. There are funds whose mandates prevent them from investing in the region. Then there are others that have a much lower firepower than international funds. As a result of this, the effort to get that foreign capital is much higher. The bar is much higher. This is known. Our laboratory is in Tucumán, in the province of Tucumán. If we had the same assets and talent in California, there would be many more investors feeling much more comfortable investing in what we do. What is the reason for that? The greatest challenge for any Latin American startup, I believe, is two things. The first one is to think globally from the very beginning. And I'm not saying this and then anyway I continue behaving as if I were an SME from Argentina. I don't want to discredit the engine of our economy, which is the SMEs, but if you're going to go along this channel, which is to raise foreign capital, to go to VC and to want to become innovation globally, you need to compete at the global scale, in the global arena. You cannot win the Champions League if you play the Argentine Cup. So the first challenge is to think and act globally. We had the advantage that first we worked with GRIDX as an incubator, and then we got investments from IndieBio. And that forces us, even after having spent 8 months in Silicon Valley, California, to think globally, act globally, and set up the company and compete not at the regional level, but at the global level. So the first challenge of a startup in the region is what I've just explained. And that entails the second challenge, which is raising capital. And for raising capital, you need, as Wes was saying, science is at the base. It's a real stakes. And then you need the business profile or the business model profile. Maybe it's not yet validated, but it needs to be conceptually a business profile that meets the expectations of a foreign investor. And I believe that we in Argentina, and specifically in the region today, as Wes was saying, we are experiencing this. We have many examples of technologies which can really compete globally, and we have fewer examples of technologies that today are sufficiently funded to become a solution to the global problems we are facing. I think that there should be, not to speak that the ecosystem of biotechnology is underinvested. There's underinvestment in the region, absolutely. But we need that link to increasingly think about solutions and markets to bring that science into the business front. So if you look back 7 years in time, we had very few biotechnological startups in the region. 7 years later, there's 80 companies, many of which have done Series A, Series B, some of them with more than 200 employees and doing technologies, and not only compete globally, but they have the potential of making a change globally. If someone here in the region starts thinking that if you're going to publish a paper or if you're going to develop an innovative product for the local market, that's going to fall behind vis-a-vis this accelerated growth. But fortunately, today in Argentina, in the region, we already have some cases of companies that are global leaders in their industry. Thank you, Franco. A big part of the success of not only biotechnology but general companies that have a technology base, the development of ecosystems, a big part of that success is due to public-private work. So what can different entities of the economy can contribute? At the Rosario Stock Exchange, you have been working on different innovative initiatives. Could you tell us what you have been working on and what's your take in terms of the creation of these innovation systems? Good morning. To give you an overview, because the Rosario Stock Exchange, it's a 140-year-old institution of Argentina. At the beginning, it started to operate in the agricultural and livestock market. Then it evolved, and it has been going hand in hand with technology advancements, with the different ways of trade. New markets have been included. And the stock exchange has always been a valid counterparty for the different governments and administrations to make the importance of these markets visible and to propose regulatory changes, among others, including infrastructure works that are necessary for that trade to happen. 7 years ago, as you were just saying, the stock exchange innovation area was created because we thought that markets are not just physical, but there's science and technology which have accelerated the process of foods, impacts in the economy, everything that has to do with benefits to society. So along these lines, the stock exchange has created a startup program with the goal of showing to the production sector, but mainly national, provincial, and international governments, because the stock exchange receives on a daily basis representatives of many countries to share the importance of how these scientific and technologically based entrepreneurs have come to revolutionize production methods trading methods, how biotechnology is cutting across all these different areas so that we can have a more friendly treatment of nature and also to solve the main challenges posed by the globalized world. And to give you some examples, 2 years ago, we started with the province of Santa Fe to conduct a survey of scientific equipment in the province, both in public universities and private universities, in research centers, in the companies themselves, as well as all the necessary talent and the gaps between the talent that is received today or that the university produces and the demands of the industry. And the hub Bio was created as a result of this. Today you can explore this entity. We have done joint work together with IDB Lab to enhance the entire ecosystem. Another area where we are working on at the Stock Exchange is the articulation of trade missions. Both the province of Santa Fe and other provinces, the province of Córdoba and the national government, conduct trade missions abroad. And the Stock Exchange provides support for the ideal startups for the type of trade mission that is planning ongoing. So this articulation of enhancing and making visible our ecosystem and the economic impact that this has, so that the government can articulate not just regulatory aspects, as was discussed yesterday, but also infrastructure and international trade. And to conclude, we also consider the necessary macroeconomic conditions for the investment to happen. In many cases, we try to be the valid counterparties in terms of what the requirements of a fund are for Latin America to become an investment option. And we even share academic papers setting forth the micro and macroeconomic inhibitors that prevent Latin America from becoming an investment option and how we can make this possible.
To kind of a global view on the state of the biotech sector, what are the major trends that you are seeing in the marketplace in terms of the new developments that are happening that could contribute to this agenda, to the climate, and specifically to food security?
Trends, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, trends. Yeah. That's a good question. So just for context, I am an early stage investor, like probably as early as GRIDX, but not as early as GRIDX because you guys do really important work making the companies, and then we will do the early stage investment. But I have seen, in my position as an investor over the 5 years, I've seen probably close to 1,500 pitches and startup decks. 400 of them are in ag and food security and food. And when you look at that many pitches, it all sounds the same. They all say, I'm going to increase yields, no offense, Franco. I'm going to decrease crop loss. And if you're not paying attention, they all sound the same. So you really have to focus on how, not the what. And that's where the strength of my team comes in as a bunch of scientists who can really dive deep into the technologies. So what I'm interested in and what really stimulates me when I see a pitch deck is when I look into the technology, is the modality new? So let's say for agriculture, a lot of it right now is, okay, fertilizers, we put some chemical fertilizers into the ground, yeah, increase yields by this percentage, or I use this kind of insecticide or pesticide, decrease crop loss by this much, etc. When you look into the different kinds, like more than just, hey, let's put chemicals into the soil, what other ways can we do that? So we have a company in our portfolio, for example, that does something that we call an electrofertilizer. So imagine instead of putting something into the soil, you have an electromagnetic wave that can increase the yields of your plants and your crops almost to the same extent that we have in chemical fertilizers today. And what's interesting about that is it's not in competition with PunaBio, which is not chemical, it's biological. But now you can start to think about, oh, can we actually stack on yield increases on top of each other because they are different modalities? So that's one of the theses that we're working on. And I will say that as an early stage investor, yes, it's very tempting to go after trends because that's how you make money, right? Because the trend means someone else is going to buy the risk that you just invested in. But I see my position more as sort of priming the pump. We have to keep innovation going and not just whatever people think is hot. We have to be the trendsetters, so to speak. Even though it's a tough job because, you know, in maybe 2 or 3 years from now, these kinds of technologies still aren't hot, but it's our job to make them hot. So electrofertilizers is one. I'm sure you all know because you're Argentinian. We have an Argentinian company called BFlow, which we've co-invested in with GRIDX. Also sort of a new way to think about how do you increase your crop yields, right? So that's basically you're boosting the bees' immune system and you're really boosting the pollination rates in a given area, and therefore, you know, the more a flower gets pollinated, the bigger berries you get, essentially. And so that's a really novel way to think about how to increase crop yields. That's not just putting chemicals into the ground. There's also another company that does put chemicals into the ground, but sort of in a different way, which is, you know, there's a lot of nutrients and minerals that are in the soil that the plants really need, and a lot of it is not in a bioavailable form. So I have a company right now that essentially can fertilize a hectare on something as small as my pinky of fertilizer, and the secret sauce behind that is, you know, 1 million times more efficient in the bioavailability instead of focusing on just the amount of minerals that you're putting in. So I will say that right now I think we're in something I call Ag 3.0, and this is something I made up, by the way, so just don't like write this down unless it sounds really good. So hear me out. Ag 1.0 is basically everything before the 1960s, the Green Revolution. So Ag 1.0, in my opinion, is probably the best ag, where we've learned a lot of techniques like intercropping and crop rotation and ways to grow sustainably while not depleting the soil. Then you get to the 1960s, and we've essentially applied the technology we've used to make bombs in World War II, and then use that to make fertilizer, and that's called the Haber-Bosch process, where we essentially take nitrogen out of the air and then turn it into ammonia, and we just dump that into the soil. And it's been great for production efficiency. We would not have this population today without Ag 2.0, but we are now seeing the drastic harm that it's doing to our soils and our land. And so now I think we're in something I call Ag 3.0, which is we're sort of understanding that soil is more biology than it is geology. Mm-hmm. And that's a nod to Franco's company, because they are essentially doing biological inputs into a biological thing. And what that means is now we're thinking about we're rethinking the ways that we've been making our food today, and I hope that we're also rethinking the kinds of food that we're making. But yeah, I think that's an emerging trend that I think is going to happen right now, and it fits with my personal thesis, which is you can only beget more life with life. And if you're working with something like biology, which is crops, and you're working with soil, which is biology, I think biological inputs is the answer to that, and it's not chemistry. And that goes with our food system as well. We're not going to, we're not going to be nutritious as people if we're just going to be putting chemicals in our body. We have to put things that are made from biological things in nature. So.
Interesting. Maria, taking the Agri 3.0 that Wes mentioned, how is GRIDX working to develop this ecosystem and to develop biotech startups. I can ask 2 questions in one.
Okay. Let's see if I remember the second one.
How is GRIDX working to develop the biotech startups in the region? How do you guys work? And then taking the answer to my first question in terms of access to talent and knowledge in the region as being one of the main characteristics in addition to biodiversity and so on. To what extent that access to talent is concentrated only in a few countries in the region? Probably Brazil, probably Argentina, Mexico, kind of the bigger countries, and to what extent you are seeing also happening, development happening in other parts of the region. How can we extend that knowledge and develop that knowledge so in other parts of the region so that the sector can grow more broadly in the region?
Okay, great. So maybe I will answer both in one. I don't know what will happen. So at GRIDX, as Franco just stole my pitch, thank you very much, Franco, we invested actually in 81 startups in the region in 7 countries. So it's Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Uruguay, Colombia, and Costa Rica. So it's more than the 3 you mentioned already. And we do this with a particular model, which is a company builder model. We actually don't look for startups. We look for scientists with scientific projects. Because when we started putting together GRIDX, we realized that there weren't startups that we could invest in. There weren't projects that were well formulated and ready to receive investment ready for the VC industry. So we went many steps backwards, and we developed a whole company builder model where we select scientists that have projects or science that has the potential to become a world-class startup, let's say, deep tech. And we also select business profiles, as Franco and many others, and we put them together to work together, and we induce them to try to make teams together and to become co-founders. And if everything goes well with the team and we can help them build a startup that we believe is going to be competitive worldwide, we invest. We are typically almost always the first check. We invest in the startup, and then we continue to work together with the startup for a long term or medium term to help them go into the world, because we are looking for projects that can become startups that can be competitive globally. So one thing that Westley was mentioning that I share, and I think we share because we are scientists, and maybe other persons in our team don't do the same. Trends are okay, but we're at GRIDX, the science team. We are scientists, and I think we are all driven by curiosity among anything else, above anything else. So sometimes we can even find scientists that have a research line that they don't know, and we still don't know at the beginning what can be done with that, but we think something's going to work with this. It has the potential because the technology is there, and it's deep tech, and the technology is there, and that's something we're going to be able to make the difference. And then during our program, before investing, we can work together with them to design the best startup with that. So we work across biotech or across deep tech and biotech. So not only in everything we're talking about here, but also health and diagnostics, but most of our startups, I would say more than half, are more related to the agri-food tech sector and climate. And we have Puna as a great example, and we also have other examples working to improve crop yields in unfavorable solutions and to restore soils, but also the Nat4Bio team here is here. They're increasing the lifespan of fruits and vegetables, and they received like the IDB support officially today. So I was there. Congratulations to the team. So those are some of the initiatives that we back and that there are. And regarding the countries, of course, there's probably more scientific tradition in Argentina or Brazil or even Mexico. So there's going to be a bigger pool, but we do look in all countries of Latin America and the Caribbean. We're always looking for science, and we do find excellent projects, because also we don't need them to have an environment where they can become startups and come to us. We can help them do that. So this year we invested in our second startup from Costa Rica. We also have startups from Colombia, which also actually, regarding biodiversity, is one of the main countries, like most important countries where we can look for that. And we are constantly looking for it in other countries, because we need great scientists, but they are not only in the best developed countries science-wise, because in that sense we would go looking in Europe or the US, but what we find here is that we have first-class science, and maybe there's a smaller pool, but it's we find very innovative things and very deep science, because that's something very important as well that I think differentiates some initiatives from others, is that we're always focused on deep tech. I think the same thing as IndieBio, right? Or in most of the cases, we are looking for solutions that are deep tech, that are really disruptive, but they have to have deep science. They have to be able to provide a solution to solve a problem in a way that hasn't been solved yet, and that cannot be solved by other teams, because they have something in their science that differentiates them. And in the sector, it's very important as well to differentiate that way of helping the startups.
Gracias, María. Franco, vos mencionaste al inicio.
You mentioned at the beginning, I think Wags also mentioned, one of the challenges in the adoption of new technologies. In BitInvest, we also see this. We invest not in startups necessarily, but in corporate areas, in farming. We invest $700 million in the agri-food business or agribusiness, and 80% of our clients are family companies, in general pretty conservative, who adopt new technologies, but they find it hard to innovate. What's your vision on this regard in terms of adoption, and how can we accelerate adoption? What's the role, if there is any, of the public sector, governments, in accelerating that part of adoption? I think, going to the last part of the question, focusing on the public sector, I think that in the future, and if tendencies seem to go in that direction with climate change and emergencies, we can see the regulatory as well as forced decisions that have to be taken can be a great incentive to adopt new behaviors or change of behaviors. I hope this is not the case. But if there's something the pandemic has taught us, is that humanity tend to react when it's a bit too late. We had a lot of investment allocated to vaccination, and in a short period of 3 months, everybody had to be vaccinated. I hope this is not the case when it comes to work with food. But today, this is not a scenario we can overlook. It was vertiginous for me when I saw a company, an Argentine company, that was pitching that we needed fast tests for new pandemics or new epidemics before the COVID. Perhaps a $5 million check to that company 3 years prior to the pandemic would have saved us millions of lives at world level. Now, focusing on more organic way of increasing adoption, I would say that the first thing is starting by the development of the solution, the product, trying to find ways for us producers not to change anything in the way we work. We develop biological products, seed treatments that are jointly applied along with other seed treatments the producer is working with. If the farmer is working with a biological treatment, a basic biological treatment, ours is a liquid that adds up to that other treatment. There's no additional process or necessary change or additional cost associated to the adoption of this technology. So everything that can be done to facilitate the adoption when you develop a product is the first thing that you have to take into account to have that chance of starting or go to market, competing in the market. Secondly, I think this is very related to data and experience. On one extreme, a farmer would like to test technology in different areas of their field before a great-scale adoption, and that's wonderful. The producer is the steward, that is to say, the guardian of their land and the food they produce. So it's normal for the adoption period to take some time until a farmer says, for example, if I grow 2,000 hectares, I will start off with 200, 500 later, and after steady results, I will start using your technology across all my fields. There's shortcuts that help producers to test in this way, which is to go to fora or channels where these variations are carried out at scale. For example, in Argentina, we have very good institutions from CREA groups, the INTA, APRESID, the stock exchange of Rosario, who have evaluation and technology tests where external essayists work, the best acknowledged essayist researchers who can validate technologies against others or against the usual practice for the farmer. Before we launch the first product to the market, and this was a critical point because this was the differential from other technologies. We already had a network of 40 trials carried out by researchers in our country that had very good results and very robust and consistent. So to have this technology package and to be able to invite these researchers to give talks at events facilitates the adoption, because when somebody external to the company tries it out, which is much more important in terms of reputation because they are experts who have worked on it throughout 30 years and their word is reliable, it's objective. They are influencers of technology adoption. That's key also. So we mentioned the product development, and the second is data. And the third and last, that is something perhaps not so scientific. The last point is to make it easier to the adopter, technology adopter, in terms of economic incentives. For example, the typical challenges we can see throughout production. For example, a challenge could be if we wanted to test this on 50 hectares commercially. In certain cases, I could say, let's focus on 200, 1,000 hectares, but let's put a measurement system whereby you can see the result. And if the product works as expected, the payment is done naturally. If the product gets repaid, but less than the maximum applicable, we can apply a discount. And if the product does not work, you don't pay anything. So these are more aggressive incentive schemes, but we have a disco in the hall. But basically, we go from 50-hectare adoption to 2,000 hectares. So this, go figure how this can be an accelerator at scale. As a company, we cannot do everything. Cannot do this during every sale, but these economic incentives are also important when it comes to the acceleration of an option. So these three things are my highlighting points. I think those lights means that we have 2 minutes left. Laura, to close this, the Rosario Stock Exchange is one of the main agricultural markets, not only for Argentina, but at regional and global level. How do you see now the influence that biotechnology is having in the farming sector? I agree, I totally agree with what Franco was saying. When he was talking, he reminded me of the food crisis. The food crisis when people died due to famine, and the agricultural sector was the green revolution when they changed the way they produce food. And today, the academia says that people do not die out of famine, not because there's food lacking, but because there's a lot of food waste. And they say that biotechnology is going to save humanity, but it is climate change and food security what should be the focus of our attention too. And in that sense, the biggest multinational companies are seeing this ahead. They have R&D areas, testing areas in their own production fields. They are starting to work on the hay footprint and how biotechnological product, GHG footprint. And we are convinced that the agricultural sector, the farming sector, is the main ally to start reverting this impact on the climate crisis. Of course, we are human beings. Human beings have to see the catastrophe to see things, right? But actually, there's a step that we have already taken. The number of startups, the number of areas, the surfaces that are being grown with biofertilizers, with all the biotechnology we have been talking about and entrepreneurs are developing. But it's true that farmers sometimes are overwhelmed due to the amount, the offers they have. And so we need to convey a message that it's important to join forces and have a unified message, because in some cases they are more traditional and they have to be certain to take the step forward. So adoption is more related to that, not because they are not convinced about it. I'm sorry, the monitor is on and the lights went on. The monitor says 0 time left. So I think that it's an indication that we are past our time. So thank you very much for your participation, for your opinions. And let's bid them farewell with a strong round of applause. Thank you so much. Guillermo, I can assure you that this was not a sign that you should be going. We continue sharing with you this morning. We have been focusing on biotechnology. Now we are going to give time to the backstage team to prepare the stage for what's next. Have you all looked at your badge? Have you seen your QR code? You can scan it and you can download the app to do networking throughout the second day of BID Lab Forum. Remember, as we said at the beginning, we are going to have a vibrant afternoon with no less than the famous basketball player that you will meet him today as one of the investors, the great Manu Ginobili. So get ready for that. We still have one additional plenary session this morning, and one of the most relevant topics, which is the role of women in the development of entrepreneurial and innovative and technological development in Latin America and the Caribbean. The people who will be joining us in this panel, they are all entrepreneurs. They have been selected by the context WeXchange STEMpreneurs demo women, and they will share why they have been selected. I will introduce them to you and who they represent. Just in a couple more minutes, we are going to meet Fiorella de la Sotta Rubio, co-founder and CEO of Cuentología, Luz Porta, Tatiana Pomar, founder from Sophie, Madeleine Valderrama, founder of Bruna, Ayana Lewinstein, CEO of Somos, Alicia Pereira, founder and CEO of Genti, Natalia Cárdenas, founder of Eolic Wall, and last but not least, Gabriela Estrada, co-founder and CEO of Petsy. We have also Lorenza, co-founder of Yera Health, and Ángela Costa, founder and CEO of Morado. Great amount of startups that will be getting acquainted throughout this morning. And we have two moderators. First, I would like to welcome Elizabeth Acuña from AVP Ventures, who will make a short presentation, and then we will meet the different entrepreneurs. Thank you. Let's receive her with a warm round of applause. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for participating of this space. Today, I have the honor of introducing the 10 winners of WeXchange competition. But before that, I would like to share with you the selection process. We received applications from entrepreneurs across Latin America and the Caribbean. One of the main criteria is that they have an active fundraising process, and we invited funds across the region to participate as members of the jury. We evaluated market potential, attraction solutions, scalability, among other features. I would like to thank all the jury members who participated, supporting us, more than 60 funds across the region. And something that is very important to highlight is that 60% were investor women, and we love that. We are very happy to have women investors participating. Here you can see the funds that participating, and it is very valuable, the space we provide between investors and investors, because they receive a lot of feedback and a different take on their business model and value proposition. This year we have received over 300 applications in 3 stages, and with this we have reached the 10 winners you're about to meet. We received application from over 30 countries, mainly the education, fintech, biotech, among other sectors. Something that was different from last year is that this year most applicants and companies were already selling, were already doing initial sales, and were already scaling in other countries. And we gave opportunity for investment of over $100 million. So there are pipelines of women investors where we women can be investors. Also, thanks to this initiative, we generated over 300 spaces of connection between entrepreneurs and investors with more than 80 presentations. So we hope they can share good news about future investments. And without further ado, so as not to create so much suspense, because the stars are the entrepreneurs, these are the winners. We have representatives from Brazil, Peru, Argentina, Mexico, Uruguay, Colombia, and Bolivia. So we are very happy for them, and I think that we will be impressed with the solutions they are developing. And to moderate this session, I would like to invite Silvia Torres Carbonell, who will be joining me. Thank you. Come, Silvia, please. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm part of WeXchange since its inception, and I'm very pleased to see all this feminine talent with this entrepreneurial spirit in STEM developments. This is an initiative we started with IDB WISE, women in entrepreneurship, with the training of STEM women in everything related to businesses and VCs. So we are very pleased, we are very happy. We have representation in 10 different countries with this program, and I'm very pleased to be introducing the 10 winners of this contest. I was the privileged member of the jury with the task of choosing the people who are here today, but who represent so many people who, with their passion, their calling, their take, their strategic look, want to add value to the world from the world of technology. Well, let's begin now with the finalists, the winners, actually. They are winners, not finalists. I'm sorry.
Let me invite Fiorella de la Sotta, CEO of Cuentología. She created an alternative to screens that facilitates upbringing, and it emotionally strengthens our children for the future. Welcome, Fiorella. Hello. I'm CEO and founder of Cuentología. Our mission is to improve the mental health of future generations. A few years ago, I decided to quit the corporate world to spend more time at home with my children, helping them overcome the challenges that they were going through. However, this is the picture that I would come across every day at home. My children are part of a bigger problem, and it's the world health crisis among children. 1 every 6, age 2 to 8, is diagnosed with a mental health problem or an emotional problem, and overexposure to screen is one of the main reasons. So the question is, what can we do as parents to help prepare our children emotionally for the future? We are parents that work more than 9 hours a day. We don't have much patience, and we don't have the tools that can help us out. This is why I set up this team of parents and experts with more than 10 years experience in marketing, content creation, software development, and children's psychology. And we are working for our children. Cuentología is a platform that provides tools for parents to help their children become emotionally stronger. These are like daily sessions leveraged on the power of storytelling to promote a healthy relationship between parents and children, the development of social-emotional skills, and a break from screens. Today, our app has more than 80 audio stories, podcasts, and resources especially designed to help our children in each of the challenges that they go through between their birth until the age of 8. Sometimes some of the stories are to address the loss of a loved one, losing their first tooth, frustration tolerance, control of rage, among others. All of this is supported by psychologists and experts in an audio immersive format that seeks to promote imagination and creativity in children. So what is the case? Let's talk about our achievements. We have more than 2.5 million minutes listened to of children far away from screens and working on their emotional regulation. We have more than 4,000 active children per month with an increase of 20% per month and 5% conversion of unload to purchase. It may sound little, but it is a great metric that is triple the metric in the industry. But the one that we like best is the retention rate. Even though we can acquire parents, we have to retain children. And more than 30% of them is spending more than 12 months with us versus 11% of the average in the industry. So the average LTV per user is $57. Our main business model is the B2C subscription, but we are also exploring additional sources of income, creating strategic content for brands and institutions, and sending licenses to groups. So we have a product that's validated, ready to be escalated on a market that is huge. And we have started with a Hispanic market, mainly in the US, where the purchasing power of Latinos is growing 2.5% faster than non-Latino inhabitants. So there is a big content demand in Spanish of great quality to raise their children in a bilingual environment. We are amidst two growing industries, the audio industry and that of mental well-being. Our content has been supported and endorsed by experts and psychologists in this immersive audio format created by 100% Latin screen-free talent, where our content is curated and it's secure for our children. This is just starting. Our goal is to sell $100,000 and to become a strong brand with a sound community and point of view, so that together with them we can take the product to extreme customization where content grows along with our children. Also, we want to involve families to co-create content with them, providing voice to children on a secure and reliable platform. If there is someone in this room that is willing to change things, to bet on Latin talent and to make children become innocent, creative, and imaginative children again, I encourage you to join us. This is the QR for our open round of meetings to reach our goal of reaching the break-even point and also to create a positive impact on our children. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me turn it over to Julieta Portasi. She's creating platforms that train the immune system to address devastating diseases like cancer. Welcome. Julieta from Sphere Bio. Good afternoon. I'm an engineer. I'm the co-founder of Sphere Bio. I have come here to tell you a story. He's Martin. He works with us at Sphere Bio. And together with his wife, Dani, they had a baby, Lucas. This baby had brain cancer. He underwent chemo surgery and the cancer came back. Even though Lucas died at the age of 6 months, he's a Sphere Bio ambassador. According to the WHO, 1 of every 6 people present in this room will die of cancer. And this is not because there are no therapies. There are therapies, but they are not being sufficiently effective. So much so that 90% of cancer therapies just do not go beyond the clinical or human testing. Why are they rejected? Either because they are not very effective or because they are highly toxic. So they need to be higher doses need to be added for them to become more effective. Something happens in our cells. Let's go to science. 99% of the drugs, biologics, therapies, vaccines, not just for cancer, but in general, they are trapped in a capsule in our cells called endosome, which is a particular compartment, and 99% is lost. It never reaches the place where the therapeutical message needs to be sent for the drug to be effective, i.e., less than 1% of drugs reaches the place that they need to reach for that message to be sent. This is the holy grail of the pharmaceutical industry for lots of therapies for multiple diseases to be approved. And this is why Sphere Bio was born. We have created a platform-based technology with our nanoparticles that we call X-spheres. They load the therapeutical message and they go beyond this entrapment of the endosome, reaching to the final destination. Now, why is it important? You may be wondering what is the difference between this and the other therapies. Well, this effect of going beyond the entrapment of the endosome capsule in vaccines, this is particularly important because it is the key to create an immune response, i.e. to train the cells of our immune system to address both a tumor or an infected cell. This means that our therapies could create more powerful immune responses with lower doses, less toxicity, so that they can be approved and so that they can reach the marketplace. So we can do lots of things with technology, but we are just starting with a niche. The oncospheres, this is a type of X-spheres, which takes the therapeutical message in a cancer customized vaccine. What we do is very simple. The biopsy taken by the doctor through a normal procedure than in medicine. We take it to the lab, we do modifications with AI, we design the proteins, and we manage for these nanoparticles to go beyond the capsule entrapment to activate the natural response of our immune system to attack the tumor cell. But what is the difference between these spheres and other therapies? Well, on the one hand, we take as much antigens versus the customized vaccines that are being used like by Moderna or Biotech. So we send more messages to understand what is the tumor that the body has to attack. And we go beyond this technical limitation of them being entrapped in the capsule so that they reach to the right place, which is to go beyond the endosome entrapment. These are papers from this year. The more signals you send to the right place, i.e. going beyond the technical limitation, the more efficiency your immune response is going to be. None of the studies have managed to accomplish this. We can see them as potential allies and clients, not as enemies. The market is $375 billion. It is permanently growing. As you know, I'm one of the co-founding partners. I have two partners, Dr. Molina, who's present here, who has been studying the technical limitation, and also a Harvard graduate working on AI, and another team of scientists who are helping us on this mission. We have the two best experts on brain cancer from Harvard on many different disciplines, and we also have other experts who are our investors. What's our goal? We expect to get a license for this technology, even though what I'm showing today, the easiest thing, which is brain cancer, because I have the team for that, we may want to try this out to create the same attack in infectious diseases and then to inhibit the attack with autoimmune diseases or using transplant tissues, possibly genic therapy, cosmetics, and many other platforms as well going forward. Our roadmap, we have been accelerated by MIT. We got investments in the first round from GRIDX. Harvard University has offered us to run the first test. Now for this, we are looking for a round of 1.5 million to move to the US and then go for our seed, which is going to be much bigger. Thank you very much. And I count on you so that we hopefully save thousands of lives, and in the future, hopefully millions of lives. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Julieta, for this great pitch. Okay, so let's continue with Tatiana Pomar, CEO of Sophie. She's revolutionizing accounts payable management through AI-driven automation, improving interaction with clients and financial health. The floor is yours, Tatiana.
Co-founder and CEO of Sophie, a B2B SaaS fintech for managing receivables. And today, I want to address a growing issue, impact society, the economic, and people's lives. Businesses are facing a big problem. Many people are not paid their accounts on time. This issue goes beyond just financial losses. It's also damaging relationships with customers and resulting high costs to collect overdue payments. I don't know if you know, but 1 in 3 Brazilians cannot pay their accounts on time. 100 million are delinquent, and 72 million have bad credit score. This is a global social problem and a huge market with billions in opportunities. After 30 years in the industry, I created Sophie to change the way how we deal with the debt collection process. Our AI-based platforms automate and personalize receivables management. Our technology increased conversion rates by 6 times and reduced operation costs by 45%. Just as Shopify revolutionized e-commerce, Sophie is transforming receivables management. Our end-to-end platforms allows brands to manage the entire collection process in a integrated and efficient way. That's why, with Sophie, brands can treat people like people, increase profits, and keep their customers forever. But you know, Sophie is not just a collection solution. It's a revolution in how brands manage their receivables, offering advanced technology, empathy, and a strong commitment to customer success. We help big brands in 5 countries across different segments with our state-of-the-art solution, and it's working. Our ARR is $800,000, with a 4-time growth in 2024 compared to 2023. We have a CAC LTV ratio of 26 times and a low churn rate of just 1.4%. We've empowered over 221,000 people to settle their debts. And in 2024 alone, our GMV reached $27 million. We operate on a B2B SaaS model, offering brands for brands of all sizes, ensuring every need is efficiently met. And now we are raising $2 million in our seed round to take Sophie to the next level. Our plan, make a huge $52 million in 5 years, transforming receivables management in Latin America. And who's make this happen? A team of 20 pros passionate about our mission. We want to make everyone's financial health better. I started in collection at 16, working across Latin America and the US. Leo, a tech genius I met in 2016 in Uruguay, has transformed several startups into success. And Karina, well, we've known each other for over 15 years. I was working at a large company in Brazil, and she was the manager of a major bank that became my client. Since then, we share the same vision. So let's all join Sophie and improve financial health together. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. The next is Madeleine Valderrama, CEO from Bruna. She's transforming the mining and agricultural industry with AI to optimize resources and maximize sustainability. The floor is yours, Madeleine. Let's give her a round of applause.
But nobody's talking about the industry that makes that possible. If you want an electric car, you need mining. If you want a solar panel, mining. If you want batteries, mining. But mining is one of the most inefficient industries in the world, and they face 2 major problems. First, they lose 10% of the recuperation of the mineral due to the variability of the raw material. To put into perspective, if anyone here is we accountable about all the minerals that we have in our cell phone, each one will be carry a backpack of 500 kilos of waste material just related to the variability issues. And second, right now, they don't know what is entered into the plant. They take a sample and send it to the lab, but they have to wait hours, even days, to know what was the quality of the mineral. But then, it's too late. To bring variability, to transform variability into certainty, we developed Bruna. Our artificial intelligence model can predict with 98% of the accuracy what will be the concentration of the mineral that will arrive into the product plant in the next 12 hours. And that is just a start, because also we suggest how to use the raw material for the stabilization of the product process. And also we increase the value of the raw material. We increase the recuperation of the mineral in $12 million in just 3 months. Right now, Bruna is applied in molybdenum, iron, gold, copper, sulfur, and silver. We are a SaaS. We have an onboarding fee for the adaptation of the platform to the reality of the client. And also we have a monthly fee for maintaining the accuracy of the model over the time. We are in Chile, Peru, Mexico, and Brazil. And this variability problem is not just related to mining. We also apply Bruna in aquaculture, agriculture, food, and manufacturing industries that give us a market size of 160 billion for the next 2 years. We already raised 1.6 million for develop and the validation of this product in Latin America. And the next year, we will open our A-series for the expansion in the North America and the Middle East. Finally, I would love to show my team. Me and Ismael, both we are the co-founder of Bruna, and you can see a lot of different flags because since the beginning, our company was designed to grow globally. At Bruna, we know that our sustainable future starts by transforming the way we mine today. Help us to accelerate this process. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Madeleine. Excelente. Excellent. Thank you very much. And now we are going to listen to Yara Levenstein, CEO of SOMAS. She's creating inclusion through cultural financial tools. Yara, the floor is yours.
These are the most expensive things that Latin Americans purchase throughout their lives. We might think that they have access to that through credit, but 70% purchase any article, expensive things, through savings. And Latin America not only save individually, but also in groups through rotation saving clubs. These clubs are people who get together to save up informally. They have different names in different countries, and they have presence in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. The World Bank estimates that they move about $150 billion informally. We are SOMOS, and we harness this saving culture to redefine financial inclusion with a focus on closing the gap between Latin American people and product service providers, digitalizing saving tools. We are the bridge connecting banks and stores with this 70% of Latin Americans who live only off their savings, and we do so through two main products. The first one is Somos Rosca. We digitalize these savings clubs. For the first time, Latin Americans can create subgroups, manage payments, and manage all their payments in their own free platform. Through these products, they can access a new market sector in a more economic and cultural way and access funds that are managed in these clubs. Stores can sell their products through group sell channel, and we help them profile their credit profile through these groups. So we digitalize individual savings. Final users through this product can connect their financial goals with products and services, monitor all their payments to be able to reduce their arrears and generate the credit profile through their savings. Banks, through this product can, based on this product, can offer credits to these final end users, and stores can sell their product without risk of lack of payment fulfillment. We have big customers, and we collect from banks and stores with an integration fee, a monthly fee, and a fee per each transaction the end user does in the platform. We currently have an EMR of 12K. We have companies such as PCP, Banco Sol, Mi Banco, UNASEM, the biggest in South America. Through these users, we are growing 9% per month, and we have attracted more than $375,000 since the beginning of the platform. Our CEO has a double PhD in Oxford, and I have a PhD from Spain. I invite you to be part of this revolution of financial inclusion that respects the culture and traditions of Latin Americans. Thank you, Yara. We now give the floor to Ligia Pereira, CEO of Genti. She's harnessing the genomic diversity of Brazilian population to promote innovation in the health industry. Welcome, Ligia.
Hello, I'm Ligia Pereira. I'm founder and CEO of Genti. We are a multi-omics platform leveraging genomic diversity for drug development. Advances in DNA technology led to the creation of several large-scale initiatives sequencing the genomes of different populations. The use of genomic data more than doubles the probability of success of a new drug. So the pharma and biotech industry are increasingly mining these data to accelerate radical innovation in drug development. However, still most of the available data is from populations of European ancestry. So that means that we are still only scratching all the potential for genome-based innovation and missing opportunities hidden in the genomes of different populations. As an example, Regeneron recently found a new target for obesity studying Mexican genomes. And this is the value of the Brazilian population. We have this unexplored Native American diversity. We have the largest population of African descent outside of Africa. In a pilot project, we found more than 8 million novel DNA variants in only 3,000 Brazilian genomes, demonstrating the value of our genomes to accelerate innovation. So at Genti, we are capturing that diversity in a platform with health, lifestyle, and multi-omics data from 200,000 Brazilians optimized to accelerate innovation in the pharma industry. In the first phase, our business model consists of minimizing the cost of recruitment and engagement of the participants, and they feed our platform, while maximizing their lifetime value in research services and access to our unique proprietary data set. We will also make the data available for academia and the public health system to promote inclusion of non-European populations in precision medicine. With the development of the platform, we will become more strategic and be involved in the co-development of IPs with pharma partners and reaching a much higher valuable market. The founders of Genti, we are scientists, we are references in human genetics research, complemented with business expertise, and we've built an exceptional team in all key areas of the company. Since 2022, we've raised $3.3 million with world-class investors, and that allowed us to build all the infrastructure to start recruitment of participants in 2023. reaching 10,000 participants recruited last August. In 24, we executed our first contract with a big pharma, and we established a partnership with Regeneron to sequence the genomes of 20,000 participants. We also got grants to increase our data mining capabilities and to scale recruitment. With the growth of the platform, we will engage with more pharma partners, create a subscription model for data access, and move into the co-development of IPs. We are now raising 1.5 million to consolidate GENTI as the reference for innovation based on genomic diversity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ligia. Now we will welcome Natalia Cárdenas, founder of Eolic Board. Their objective is to decentralize wind energy in the benefits of companies and communities. Natalia, the floor is yours. Hi, everyone. I'm Natalia Cárdenas from EOWOL, and with a group of engineers and science people, we want to decentralize access to wind power. We can see solar energy everywhere, houses, companies, communities. However, it's not the same case with wind power, and this is mainly because for a windmill to be efficient, we need it to be giant. Windmills at a lower scale are not efficient, and this is precisely what we are changing. We have created a new wind energy that reaches the same efficiency of the giant windmills that we know, but with in a fraction of scale. Let me introduce the eolic cell that accelerates wind speed to generate more energy with the same wind resource. It uses a rotor that eliminates friction, and next to Ohm National Lab, we have created a new generation system that allows us to eliminate all the mobile parts of the system. Besides, our system is modular, which allows us to pile up wind cells such as Legos, so reach energy solutions with a single solution. We have 3 functional prototypes today, and our next step is to develop our product to enter the pilot phase and launch the product in 2026. We have been very careful with our IP strategy. We have been careful of the main components. We have 5 inventions in the portfolio, and we have patents granted in 8 regions, such as Europe, United States, Korea, India, and etc. The market is vast. The laboratory conducted a study on wind distribution, energy distribution. And this goes up to $3 billion. And we are going to focus on the sector that today has the highest pain point, which are companies with sustainability methods. We are going to help them with the decarbonization of their Scope 2 and 3 in different locations, including off-grid and within the city, because it's not necessary to have high-quality winds. Our technology is totally adaptable given their modular capacity, and we're going to make it affordable through an energy service with premiums are not going to be necessary. Thus, we're going to offer 100% green energy with lower prices compared to those of brick. We have different paid pilot agreements. For example, a construction company that wants wind cell to sell their customers green buildings. An energy company that offers PPA, but there's no wind offer. They want to integrate their wind cell in their portfolio. There's a textile industry that want to decarbonize their operations, but also their cotton fields. And we have a list of more companies that have approached us because they want to be the first users of our solutions. We have already raised $500,000 through fundraising, angel investors, Techstars, and third derivative. Today you can be part of this thanks to the fact that we are launching the first round of investors of $1 million to be able to build our beta product and strengthen our IP strategy. If you are not investors, you can help us anyway. If you are aware of a company that is focusing on their decarbonization goals, and we will be pleased to meet with them to explore their needs. Eolic wall, the next generation of energy systems, wind energy systems. Thank you, Natalia. Now we will give the floor to Gaby Estrada, co-founder and CEO of WeXchange. She's transforming the credit access in Mexico, empowering people with their access to new credit cards. Good morning. The problem of financial exclusion in Latin America is huge, particularly in Mexico. Only a third of the population has access to formal credit. Only 1 out of 10 Mexicans have access to a bank credit card, which is the product we start off with our credit score. I'm Gabriela Estrada. I'm co-founder and CEO at WeXchange, the bank that offers the first experience in a credit card. And the problem is that bank requirements or bank products are not designed for the reality of Latin Americans. They do not earn what the banking sector requests, or they live in the unregistered economy and they cannot prove their income. In WeXchange, we solved this problem using technology to offer a totally digital product, very clear, transparent, easy to use, easy to apply, and with less requirement. The result is that for 60% of our clients, WeXchange is their first credit card. And our differentials are proprietary technology, risk, capital efficiency, unit economic positives that allow us to reach the break-even point in March this year, making us very efficient in the use of capital. We coined this concept that we call Financial Inclusion Plus. That is not only to provide access to our customer to the financial system, but also give it with the best possible benefits a banking sector offer. We are the only fintech issuing American Express with the lowest interest rates in the fintech system. We give cashbacks, insurances, and a lot of financial training. Who are our customers? We began with a potential of 18 million young underserved adults with an unlocked purchasing power of $60 million. And I love this. I worked 15 years in the banking sector. I've never heard a client say, "I love you, bank." At WeXchange, we receive these remarks every day, and this is what drives us forward. We have funded more than $120 million with 770,000 clients, and we have a revenue of $220 million. We are B2C. We receive fees through commissions, interest, and transactions, and we have positive unit economics from day one. The markets to serve the underbankerized sector is huge. It is estimated in more than $30 million. $300 million. I'm sorry, but we don't want to be just a credit card. We want a one-stop shop for the underserved market in LATAM. We have a marketplace. We are launching a lot of products, but we want to launch many more products that cover the needs of our clients. And this is my dream team, my partners, Cynthia, Gustavo, and Salvador, with over 20 years of experience in bank, the commercial strategy, and technology. What's next for Vexi? We want to continue being profitable, but we know that scale is important, that size matters. We want to increase the number of customers, products, talents. With more talent, we are going to be raising a fundraise round to be the top-of-mind option of our segment. Thank you. And if you want to join the purpose, join us in the changing the purpose of financial system in Latin America, please contact us. Thank you so much, Gabriela. Now let's go to Loresa Vecino, CTO of IDB Health. She's creating solutions to prevent, treat, and reverse metabolic diseases. Lorenza, the floor is yours. Hi, everyone. I'm Lorenza, CTO and co-founder of IDB. Today, I come here to work not only of technology, but how we take care of our health through the control of sugar in blood. Every time we eat, we have glycemic spike, increasing the risk of metabolic diseases, increasing the age of our cells, affecting our longevity. The approach has been generalized to tackle this, such as glycemic index and the counting of carbohydrates, but these rules do not apply for all. In one of our trials, we saw how people with identical metabolic profile, they show different types of experiences. In IDB, we believe the medicine should be personalized, so we help everyone to check their glycemia to revert to change or prevent metabolic diseases, or even revert them. Our first product is an app to monitor glycemia and the eating habits of users using a sensor and a smartwatch. They take a picture of their food and they receive a recommended recommendation to reduce their glycemic index. Today, this is used in Uruguay and Brazil. At the same time, we're developing an AI algorithm that can prevent the glycemic response of a person to different food combination using the microbiome in the intestines. Why the microbiome? Because through the investigation, they found that this is most influential factor in the glycemic response. So this product is sort of a lab test. The user send a sample of the microbiome and they receive a glucose number of references. We are collecting data of the region to have a predictor. We are focused on the Latin American market, starting with Brazil, that is the 5th market with the highest levels of diabetes in the world. We focused on diabetes, control, weight control, and health longevity. Together, these sum up just 77 million people in Brazil alone. Our business model is B2B and later to a nutrition clinic with an average of $270 per clinic. And then for the wellness sector, we had a lot of potential to monetize our database in the future. We have a team, a first-level team, Fernando Silamovic, our CEO with experience in Weizmann Institute in Israel, Juan Elenter with machine learner, Gregorio Laura, scientific advisor, an expert in microbiota, and I'm a biomedical engineer focused in AI in health. Also, we have entered the incubation program of the Albert Einstein Hospital in Brazil, providing access to a network of expert data clinical trials. We're currently closing our pre-seed round of $500,000. After 15 months, we're going to launch the product into the market and patent it to protect the technology. We are also going to define the most efficient selling channel to continue growing and consolidating ourselves. At IDB, we are raising the bar in the care of glucose. We are ready in Latin America, and we invite you to join us in a path toward a more sustainable and customized health. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's move on with Angelo Acosta, CEO of Morado. CEO of Morado. The floor is yours, Angela Acosta. Hello, everyone. A couple of years ago, I came across a young entrepreneur with great dreams who wanted to set up the largest hairdresser chain in Latin America. After more than a year of speaking with different financial institutions, she wasn't even given $1 for making her dream come true. Financial institutions haven't been made for women who have big dreams and not a credit history. That woman that I met a couple of years ago was myself. So that woman was myself. My name is Angela Acosta. I am the founder and CEO of Morado, the digital bank of beauty business for Latin America and the world. The beauty industry is made up by us, women, by 84%, but only one of every beauty deals in Latin America has access to funded inventory, i.e. financing. At Morado, we are working to change this. How? We have developed a technology, our inclusive credit scoring, that uses financial and non-financial information to be able to grant a loan to all those businesses, which, of course, most of them are unregistered. Our credit scoring provides approval rates of more than 97%, which enables us to have one of the strongest inclusive credit scoring in the Colombian market. In addition to this, we help beauty businesses to understand what they need to buy, depending on seasonality, on where they are located. For example, if it's Halloween or Carnival, we tell them exactly how they need to get their supplies so that it is extremely easy for them to pay for that loan and for that inventory that we have sold to them. The beauty industry is an amazing industry. Even in Colombia, this year, it has been growing by more than 37% year to date, more than many other large industries on the market. This places us in an extremely privileged position, and this is why we are at the right time to put together a huge company. What have we accomplished over the past 24 years since we started? We have managed to work and to fund inventory to the large beauty stores, more than 120 brands selling more than $15 million worth of stocks, and helping them fund their inventory and help them grow their business. Team, I have been on fintech for more than 7 years. I lived 2 years in Brazil opening Rappi Bank. Then I led the supermarket vertical for Rappi in Mexico. And 2 years ago, I made the decision to put together a digital bank for beauty business in Latin America, supported by an incredible team, Daniela, Juan Felipe, Valentina. All of them have great experience that they contribute to create this bank and to fulfill all our dreams. Our revenue model is quite simple. Everything that is sold through the Morado platform has a rate which is partly paid by the beauty brands, and the other portion is paid by the business or the beauty business that we fund. This has given us positive yields that has enabled scalable growth. Our impact: 62% of the business that we fund had never had access to credit, i.e. Morado is the first loan for 68% of our users. This is what has enabled us to grow so much. Thanks to this, we have been globally recognized, which has enabled us to have the support of great investors, masters, advisors, not just venture capital, but also from the best startups in Latin America. What are we doing right now? We are experiencing incredible growth. We would love to meet more people to be able to roll out this bank to become the #1 financial ally by 2030, funding more than $100 million. Thank you. Thank you very much, Angela. And thank you very much to all the entrepreneurs. You've done an incredible presentation, all of you. So let's give them all a great and big round of applause. Before we wrap up this session, we have two announcements. The first one by Silvia. Okay, I'd like to congratulate you all and thank you. I'm still excited. I've been listening to entrepreneurs for more than 25 years. Can you imagine how the great innovative and powerful grit that we all have in Latin America, particularly with a focus on women talent, especially with the great allies that we have today, technology, we don't have an excuse not to become a better region, better countries, better citizens, so that we are all more thriving. Well, and my announcement now. And IDB Lab provides great support in this, so let's give IDB Lab a great round of applause because they continue supporting all these initiatives. So I have an announcement for you. Let me remind you that today at 5 p.m. we'll have a workshop led by WISE, the program that I discussed earlier with IAE experts and Austral University on how to incorporate AI in your business. So for those of you who would like to join the session, it was going to be held on Atlántico B room. If you haven't registered, you can do it on the app, on the agenda tab. So I look forward to seeing you at 5 p.m. Thank you very much. I encourage you to scan this QR code on the screen. There you will find contact information on all the entrepreneurs who have presented today. I encourage you to go to the networking spaces. The IDB Lab will be also willing to help you to meet with the entrepreneurs. Let's have a picture now, and thank you all very much for being here.
Podemos aprovechar para darles un aplauso grande más, ¿no? Claro que sí.
Let's give them an extra round of applause.
Acá llegaron dos más, vamos.
Here we have two more. Come on. Now the team is full. Great Latin American women who have inspired us with their projects. Thank you all so very much.
Les prometimos que iba a ser una gran...
We promised that we were going to have a great morning full of inspiration and insight. We have some announcements for the afternoon. We have to be on time in the afternoon to be able to enjoy everything that's next. Before the break, and as we were telling you yesterday, remember that the IDB Lab Forum seeks to be a carbon neutral event, and you can play a part here. So together with the Climate Tech Carbon Neutral, they will be explaining to us how we are all making an effort so that we can all be carbon neutral at this event. So also take a leading role here. Let me remind you that for the afternoon talks, well, we will have the networking space and lunch break, and then In the afternoon, we will start with different tracks, and you can choose between Atlántico A